Hi everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the mobile system design interview. Why I chose this topic? There are two reasons. One, every time when we do search about the system design interview, we are getting the information. Most of the time is related to backend engineering, API design, blah blah blah, but not enough information about the mobile system design. And the second reason is when I met with some developers, they share with me their experience and they always ask me, okay, what do you think about the system design? Because they feel they are very good in a coding rounds, but every time they are lacking some skills around the system design. So that is the main reason I'm going to discuss about the mobile system design. So in case of a mobile system design, I want to share with you first my opinion. So for this interview, there is no need to prepare. Only what you need to do, you need to do a lot of practice. Plus, you need to sit down and try to think what you did in your career. Like if it's a 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 year career, try to figure it out what type of problems you solved and how you solved, and gather all that information and try to streamline and try to remember, okay, these are the things you did. So once you have all that knowledge streamlined, it will help you out when you're going to practice for this interview, or maybe you are going in an interview. And uh, what are the expectations from this interview? So what I understand, every company really wants to know about your experience, uh, what you did in your career and how you did and how you think. The biggest mistake which I felt mostly developers do, uh, interviewer asks a some one liner question, and what they will do, they will take that question as a task, like some kind of a feature you need to design, but they take as a task and start writing, okay, I'm going with the MVVM or MVP or MVC, any UI architecture, and they start creating okay repository, and then they start writing code around that, which is not the expectation from this interview. It's a system design. Yes, they will ask you only about a feature. Okay, we need to design a feature, but still don't forget the interview is a system design, not the task to make some feature. In case of a system design, it's your responsibility to ask a lot of questions. Second thing, in this interview, the expectation is you are leading this interview. The interviewer should be kind of a like he's only watching you and listening you, and maybe he can jump in to ask you more clarifications, or maybe he wants to move the like the interview from some specific area to another area, but you are the one who is leading this interview. And how you can do, you will understand once we will do one example. So today, what we will do, we will take a one use case, and then we will discuss how I will approach that. And for the today use case, mostly how I used to do the practice, or maybe or how I did with my friends. I always ask, okay, open your mobile and open any app which you really love, and they will open the app, and we will open that app, and maybe I will say, okay, this is the screen we need to design. Done. That is the question. And most of the time in interviews, they will give you only one liner. We need to design this, and that is enough. So in my case, I'm thinking to design some feature which then we have a lot of edge cases and kind of a difficult. So we can design maybe uh, like a Facebook home screen where we mostly have our posts or feeds. So, for example, I'm in an interview, and interview asks me, okay, we need to design. Most probably, he will ask me, okay, you ever use a Facebook app? I will say yes, and it's like, okay, so you know that there is a screen which is feeds where we are showing the data. I will say yes, and okay, we need to design that. Then that is the question. So I will say, okay, so I'm going to design a screen which looks like this. So there will be posts. So that is a question. Now, my so it's not a feature I will not take as a task, I will take as a system design. So from the system design perspective, I will ask some questions, some clarifications. It's my duty to to gather all the requirement. Okay, so in case of a, so I'm taking the Android application, but you can use the same thought process for the iOS. So in Android I will ask, okay, so I'm going to make this, but I have some questions. First, can you clarify me my design? I should design this only for mobile, or you are expecting I should design for mobile, tablet, TV, maybe auto. And it's important to ask these questions. Sometimes what happen, we assume that the interviewer will know about all these information and we are shy to ask. So I will say, throw each and everything. If you feel it's something dumb, still throw that. It's okay. Over communication, sending a lot of information. But if you assume and you are shy, so interview never know about you, how you think, what is your process, and maybe he met you first time, so he has no idea. So if you are assuming something, please don't assume, throw that thing. So I will ask, okay, so in case of an Android, it's a big ecosystem and there's a lot, thousands of devices, different type of hardwares. So should I design for this, and maybe for this discussion, maybe he will say, okay, only design for the mobile app. Okay, so I will say, okay, so I'm going to design only for mobile. So this is my first gathering of the information. Now in case of a mobile, I have one more question. Should I design for portrait and landscape both, or portrait is enough? And for this one, I will say, okay, portrait only. So I'll say, okay, this one is portrait. Maybe there is a possibility, once you are sharing this information, he will ask, okay, can you share with me, if we design for all type of devices, what will happen? Or maybe if we will design for the landscape and portrait, then we need to convey, okay, if we design for both, then we need to discuss about this scalability, the UI, how we are going to design the APIs, how much data we need to use. So anything which you ever face in your career, and I'm sure you face these type of questions in your career, so only you need to convey that. Okay, so next thing is mobile, portrait. What else in Android? So ecosystem is done, mobile, language. Okay, so is it a one language or multiple language? Maybe you can ask, okay, if we will make a multiple language, then is there anything different? Oh yes, so some information which I'm getting from the API, maybe we need to focus on that. And what information on a local device, it's okay, we will save all the devices, all the languages we are going to make, we will save that copy. But there is some information which is coming from the server side which I can understand by looking this feature. So yeah, one is a language. Anything else? So maybe he is saying, okay, for now this one is English. Also you can ask language, then right to left, left to right, and that also has an impact on your feature. Okay, so these type of information you can ask in maximum 30 seconds. I took a little bit more because I'm in a discussion, but you can ask all this information in 30 seconds, which is in my opinion it's a good sign. So I can understand, yeah, you really know you are going to design a system which, and by asking these questions the person will know, okay, I really understand what is maintainability, what is future scalability, and all these are not the terminologies. My decisions will show him or her like I really care about that. Okay, so now moving from here to the next part. So again, there is a possibility people are assuming, okay, we are getting some data and we will show. So what I will ask, okay, so is this information is kind of a public information we are going to show on a screen, or it's user specific? If it's a user specific, then I'm assuming there is a login sign up is already implemented, or you think I should implement. So it's next question, and he will say maybe okay, we can design that, or maybe we'll say assume that is already available. Okay, so I will throw one more question which I learned from my experiences. Okay, in a login sign up also, to make sure the privacy and the security, we implement some techniques, some algorithms in a way so nobody can take the data, any data, by without that token or any approach which you use. So I'm assuming that is also implemented. So he will say maybe yes, or maybe we can ask you, okay, what what is token, or how you are going to manage that, we can discuss for 2 minutes, and you can throw all your experience there. Okay, I will design this. I'm expecting there will be, once you will do a login, there will be a user session. Maybe there is a token which will expire, so nobody can do DDoS attacks and any other type of the hacking. And then maybe you can share. Okay, and if he is more interested in that, he will take you there. Maybe he can ask you, okay, if you are going to design this token expiry, how you will manage the token expiry time. Like for example, I'm in the app and I did the 6 API calls, and suddenly my token is expired. So what you will do with those 6 API calls? Okay, maybe they are in between and they are failed by due to the token expiry. So I will say, okay, maybe I will design my algorithm in a way, if the token expired and I'm getting the response from the APIs, I'm not going to show that information to the end user. Instead, I will save that APIs in a memory, and I will do a token refresh API call by implementing proper synchronization. So 6 APIs are already there. There are 2 more coming there. So I will make a queue, and once I have a new token, I will throw those to the new token. And how I manage this. So there is something maybe he can ask, maybe she or he ignore, and he will say okay. So now by doing this, it means we have a one network module. So I am now designing something network module. Okay, one more suggestion. So when you know your interview is scheduled, please ask with the recruiter, okay, if you are doing the interview remotely, okay, which tool we are going to use, and he or she will share with you that tool, and spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes with that tool before the interview, and try to create some squares, rectangles, and how to make arrows. It will save some time, because most probably you only have 1 hour or maybe 45 minutes. So don't spend time learning tool in that interview, in between the interview. Always learn before that, so you will save some time. Okay, so we have a network module. Now we can little bit more discuss about the implementation design. So from the Android perspective, I will say, okay, in the network module, I'm going to use under the retrofit. It's kind of a industry standard, and I will use the gzip, and you can share with you, okay, gzip, what is the purpose of a gzip. And if the interviewer is interested, he will ask you more questions. If not, okay, this is my network module is ready, and it means the login sign up is there, token is already implemented. This module is responsible for that. Now coming to the next, the API. There is also one question someone asked me, okay, from the backend perspective, when API comes, how much I should discuss, and I told him, okay, so we are not a backend engineer, and there is no expectation from you. You are going to manage, okay, the loading server, like how much load we have, and anything related to server. But you are responsible. You should discuss from the API, from the consumer perspective, what type of information you want, in which format you want, what is good for your user. So now my next question is, okay, we have this information, is the API is ready, and maybe he will say, okay, yeah, we have the URL, but you need to share with me what type of information you want, how information you want. So I will say, okay, so URL is there, so its name is maybe company.com/feed. For now it's okay. So now here you can discuss, okay, I will use JSON, or maybe I will use XML, or maybe I'm expecting the GraphQL, or you can say maybe I want the all type of the XML and JSON both should be available, and by sending the parameter, I will fetch according to my design. So why, and discuss now the pros and cons about the JSON, about the XML, about the GraphQL. So you should convey what you know, which one is good for this, and why that is good, and try your best to be honest. If you never use, for example, XML or JSON or GraphQL, don't throw that. Only discuss what you really know, so you can give the proper answers. You can justify easily, and there is no wrong and right answers, but you need to justify what you are saying. Okay, so this is my Okay, so next I will ask, okay, the information, what type of information we are sharing. You told me we want to copy kind of a Facebook. So in case of a Facebook, we have posts which are only text, we have posts which are images only, we have posts which are images with text, we have posts with the videos, AR, and the 360 images, blah blah blah. So maybe he will help you out. Okay, what we can do, we can design only for maybe text post, text images, text with images, and maybe video. Okay, for this only we will go with these three. Okay, so now I'm going to get this information. Okay, the next thing is how much data we will fetch. So for that I'm also expecting the pagination is there. Maybe he can ask you how you want to implement pagination. So you can maybe simply say, okay, I will send the page size and page number. So that is enough. So page size and page number. Uh, why you want like this? So I will say, okay, so basically when I will design my algorithm for fetching the information, I will design according to the network. So if I have a good network and it's Wi-Fi, maybe I can ask, okay, give me the 20 size of page. So every page has a 20 posts. But if I feel, okay, it's a mobile and it's pretty expensive, my algorithm will ask only 5 or maybe 8 according to the screen. So this is pretty good to design according to the hardware, and by doing this it's always help to our end users, and it will show me the signal from you. Yeah, you really know what you are designing. So okay, that is the one reason. Second reason, we know if I have thousands of posts, that doesn't make sense, I will call for the 1,000 posts. So that is also one reason, but by doing this dynamic, it help you. So design your algorithm maybe according to the device dependent. Okay, what else we can discuss here? So we decided, okay, I will get a JSON. In this JSON object, I have a JSON array which contain the objects, and I am expecting to give me the information in which you are giving me the text, but maybe there is a type also. What type of post? So maybe kind of a enum. Okay, there is a text, image, text with image, video, which will help me to understand, okay, this information is a text, this information related to that. Then what's next? Page size is done. We can discuss about the images also. Okay, so the images, how you will download those images, or should you get the blob, or maybe I will raise this. Okay, I want my images should be coming in the form of a URL, and I don't want to download or maybe get as a blob, because that is too much for my API. And so in JSON we will get the URL, and I will download the image at a runtime on a device. So for that, once I want to download the image, we need one more module, image downloading. Okay, so image downloading module, you can say, okay, I have image downloading module, maybe I will use Glide or Picasso, the industry standard. There is a possibility he will ask you a question around Glide or Picasso, what is the difference, or maybe he not. In case if he asks and you know, please share. If you don't know, maybe you can say, okay, I never explored that, so I'm sorry, I'm not sure about that. So which is again okay, you need to be honest what you really know, go into that deep, but don't go into deep which you don't know. So this is the image module is there, now the network module is there. And are they dependent, like image module is dependent or independent? I think in this case image module is independent, because once I'm getting the URL, so on a back end URL is not enough, maybe there is some security key or the token, I will append that on my own and then load the data. So this is an independent module, only I will throw in the image URL. So then maybe there is a question, okay, if we send you a blob, so that will be more better for you, so you can show directly images, there is no need for that. So now you need to share the pros and cons. So for this discussion I'm going on in deep detail for this one only, but take a decision on your own what is good. Okay, so for example he asked me, okay, if we throw you the blob information, what do you think, is it good or bad? So I will say I think is bad, there is a reason. So for example, I ask 10 posts in the pagination, and you are sending me the 10 posts, and for example 10 posts have information 512 KB, but and from that 10, there is a possibility 8 of them are images. So if you are sending me the image URL, most probably 200 characters, so I can add the 200 characters, so it will be 812 KB. But if you're sending me a blog, that may be a maybe 4 MB or something around that, so you can understand it's going to be pretty harsh for my user. On the second side, if I have 10 and I'm only showing you the 4 according to your screen size, maybe 3 posts, the remaining 7 is there and user never try to see those, so it's kind of a waste. So if I have only URL, if you will scroll, I will download on the basis of that. So it's pretty kind of a lazy implementation. Now that is my opinion. You can share more. Also you can disagree or agree. So what's next? Also I can ask, okay, for the image size, so I will send you the device width and height in the URL, and I am expecting the server will send me the information according to the width and height. Why? I don't want to abuse the CPU power to maybe stretch or maybe compact the image on a device. It is going to impact also battery. Second, the use of a data. So for example, my device is maybe 400 into 800 and you are sending me the image which is 1600 into maybe 2000. That doesn't make sense. So server should send me the 800 and the 600 according to the width and height. So again, device specific, which is a good sign. So I'm going to save some data, I'm going to save some battery, and which is good. Yeah, on a server side it's pretty a lot of load, which is okay. Servers are more powerful than the mobile devices. Okay, so now we can move to the next, but still you can discuss. It depends. If he is really interested, he will ask you more. If he is not, you can skip and you can move on. So until now we designed this. Now what's next? My next question will be, okay, is it online only or it should work offline? So maybe he will say, okay, we want both offline and online. So offline and online plus offline. Now in this case, I need to create a one more module. Its name is database. So to support the offline, we have a database. In case of a database, now I will also create some tables. Okay, maybe I will create 2 tables. Like it depends, you can discuss. So for example, I have a one table which is feed and the other table will be image. But in an interview, try to make a whole kind of a Excel table and show him what you are thinking. For now, I'm skipping that part. So why I took this approach by having 2 tables? Maybe I can go with the one only feed, and because in one post maybe there are multiple images, one to many. So I can understand there is a one to many relationship. So foreign key and the images table. And the second part is, I can make a one only table, a column which is called images and which will save the string, and I will save as a JSON string array of URLs and simply take that. So it depends, only discuss your pros and cons. Then once you have that, I have an image table. I will save the image with the reference key, plus I have a URL column, plus I have a SD card. Why I need SD card? Because we are going to support offline. So I think once we will download the image, we should save the image that on a SD card. I think it's good. So we will save that information, and also in this part also we can discuss about the caching images and which algorithm you want to use. Okay, you want to use LRU cache, which cache and why you want to go with that cache. So it's a good point you can share. So from here, now database is ready. Where should we move next? I think we can move now towards the UI. So in case of a UI, I can share now. Okay, so in case of an Android, the Google recommended MVVM architecture, but there are more: MVP, MVC, MVI, anything. You can share your experience and which architecture you are going to use. So maybe you can say, okay, I'm going with the MVI because MVI is pretty good. You have less bugs because there is only one-way traffic. and there is not a big issue with the states because it's always one way. And you can go with the MVP, and you can say okay, with the MVP for the simple task is okay, but once you have a complex UI, a lot of states, it's a two-way. It's you. There's a lot of time I face a lot of issues, crashes or wrong information due to the states. So it depends, but share your experience. And in our case, I am going with the, for example, MVVM. So model view model. Maybe he already aware of, but share with your thoughts about okay, what is model view model? Okay, this is blah blah blah. So that is done. Next, we can discuss more about the business logic. So what I will do with the business logic here. For example, I already shared with him okay how I will manage. So there is a repo, concept of a repository. I discussed with him okay, so there is a repo who is responsible to take the information and then move towards to the view model, and then view model is responsible to update the UI. We will discuss about the UI. First we can complete this all those things which are not visible to the user but are important from the system perspective. Okay, now there is a pretty critical decision. Which one is our source of truth, database or network? Now there are two, maybe there are more than two, but what I in my mind currently I'm feeling there are two approaches for now. So I can say okay, my database will be a source of truth. So in that case it means repo is always fetching the data from the database and showing to the user, and then my network is updating the database. So that is the one approach. Second approach, maybe I can say okay, if the internet is already available, network is my source of truth, and in between if internet is gone, I will move towards the database, but in that case the network is also responsible to update the database. So pretty critical decision. It depends why you want, which approach you want to take. So maybe to make this, I will go only one approach so we can discuss more. So which one we should take? Both have their pros and cons. Okay, so okay, for now we can take okay, network is my source of truth, and when network is gone, my source of truth will change to the database, and then we will do okay. So in that case, what will happen? I open the app, internet is there. I downloaded the post from the network directly. I'm showing from the repo, and also I updated the database. Then what's next? The internet is gone in between. It means everything is working. There is no more data. I'm showing on a UI something, and that is good. Now there is a second scenario. I close the app. Now I open the app. Network is still not available, but the information is already available in database. So what I will do, I will take the information from the database, and I'm showing here. I'm not showing, sorry, I'm loading the data in a repo. And now I'm on, for example, a third post or maybe a 17th post, and suddenly network come back. Now in this case, what will happen? If suddenly I switch to the network, then there is a possibility user is showing me the okay, I'm on a 17th post, but network moved and now I have a new data, and I suddenly update the user screen, which is a very bad user experience. So now you need to discuss, there is a issue. What we can do, maybe I will say okay, on a UI maybe we can start showing some pop-up or kind of a button. Okay, there is the latest information is available, and if user will click that, what I will do, I will suddenly change to the network layer as my source of truth. I will update my database and I will start showing from here. So that is the one approach we can use. Okay, if I am using the other approach where my database is a source of truth, in that case what will happen? Every time when data comes, data is going to the in the database, and I'm showing from database, I'm fetching data from the database and repo, and from here it's going to there, and it's like here is a UI. Now in this case again there is the pros and cons. So for example, I have a data maybe 20 posts, and after that it's showing here, and I'm on again on a 15th one, and suddenly I figure it out, there is more data available. Latest posts, there are 20 latest posts. Now what should we do? If I insert that, it means it will notify my repo, and again we will scroll maybe, and we will suddenly vanish the post and then showing again but the latest data. So again the user experience is bad. So how we will manage that? So in that case, maybe I can say, okay, in between the repo and a database, every time when user will open the app, and we will see if network is already there, maybe we can load some information before showing the data by showing the loading screen. Or maybe if network is not there, or every time I will make a view, table view, like the from the database, like for example, or in easy words I can say, okay, memory, in memory, in memory data. So I load always from database into in memory data if there is no network connection. So by doing this, okay, data is there, in memory showing here, in memory is under my control once when I will should fetch. So now network come back, network is sending the information and we are inserting in a database. Once the information in database, I'm not going to update my in memory. Instead on a UI I will show there is the latest data you want to see, and it will say, if user say yes, I will say okay, directly show from here, and then screw this, which is good. Okay, now there is one more issue also. Okay, how to take care of the database. So every time when we are loading the information, there is a possibility there are more latest data is also coming. So there is a one problem to manage the synchronization of my database. So maybe there is a time to create a one more module. So I will say, okay, there is a one more module which is responsible for syncing. So I will kind of background, or maybe it depends, you can discuss. He is responsible to take care of the database validity. Data is there, I'm showing all the posts, and also every time we can say there is always in memory. Maybe it's a very bad approach, but only sharing with you my thoughts. So synchronize, he is responsible when network is there, update my database, database should have proper information, in memory is there, so we are not going to notify directly the UI, we are sending data here, and we can put some logic here. Okay, if database and in memory are in sync, and the data, the last message which I have, and the message is there is same, and there is no more views or no more rows, I will show from in memory, fetch the data in memory. Or maybe I can delete this and put here, and suddenly synchronize, say okay, there is more data I'm going to insert. At that time we will create a in memory table, and it's very small, and we will show there, and then we are showing to the user, hey, you want to see the new data. If you say no, it's okay, we will show you until end, and then after that, once the data is done, we can't fetch, we are still showing the refresh, some kind of this. Okay, but now there is a one more question, how much data we should save. So every device has a memory, and we don't want to abuse a lot of memory. So there will be one more module, I think we can say cleaning. You can find a good name, cleaning or deleting, something like that. Okay, it's kind of a background service who is responsible to clean the data. Clean the data means to remove the data. For example, I decided to implement my algorithm device specific. So device specific means, for example, I will check, okay, how much memory, total memory, and it's saying okay 64 GB. I will say okay, I will use 2% of that. So in that device my limit is 2 GB. If the device has 8 GB, I will say okay, 512 MB is my. So once I will cross that limit, now cleaning service is responsible to clean that data. Which data you will delete? Hopefully it's not least recently used, it most probably according to the time latest ones will be there, because in this case I don't think least recently makes sense, but it depends. You can discuss how many algorithms or techniques you know, you can implement according to that. So cleaning service is responsible for that. Okay, what's next? So I hope this is clear. Now we are going on a UI. So in case of this, we can discuss a little bit more about how I implement. Okay, we use the cycler view, or maybe the list or the rows, and then I will render. You can discuss more about on the UI, how you will show the data, how you will render the data. Maybe you can say, okay, I will fetch more data, I will try to make that data be ready on a background thread, and then suddenly I will only show the data on a foreground thread, on a UI thread, or any approach which you really love to do. Or maybe you can share, okay, I face these issues, so I think we will go with this one. So once the UI is ready, recycler view is there, my MVVM is there, repo is there, all this information is available here. So it's kind of, we try our best to make this. Now there is also some bonus we can discuss more. Like for example, the hardware, it's very important. So once you have your threading system, maybe you can discuss in the network module or maybe anywhere else in a cleaning. So for example, there are multiple there are devices which we say high end and then low end and a mid end. So for example, high end device has 4 cores, and it means I can easily manage like 500, like if one core is, for example, assume one core is enough to manage 128 threads, and we decided for our app we will take 4 threads per core. So in that case, I will say, okay, my algorithm is also device specific. How much pool I will take according to the cores. So in that case, high end device may have 4 cores, means 16 threads pool, and if I have one core only, the low end device, I will say 4. And why I'm showing this, because those users or consumers who have a good device, who spend a lot of money to have a good device, they should enjoy our app more, and I can increase that by using these threads. And yeah, your code should be also support that. It's a multi-threaded, the independent, no waiting. It depends feature to feature. If it's only one, and if you go with the like hard coded, okay, I want to use a 16, you are destroying your low end users, because it's maybe by having a more threads, it's creating more problems, and it's going to make more less efficient your app. So it's kind of, you can discuss anyway. So any problem which you face, you can throw here, and it depends on the interview. If you really want to interested, it's good. But so this is our now design. Next, every time when you go in an interview, always try to understand about your company, which company you are going to give the interview. So there are some companies, they are data driven. Some companies, they take decisions differently. Sometimes some startups, they are pretty emotional. They think something is pretty good and it's in market, people are really enjoying, we should go with that. So try to think about that. So for example, in our case where you are going, it's a data driven company. So this feature, maybe there is some support for this feature, so they have some data already, or maybe it's a new product, so they want to experiment. So once they want to experiment, you can also discuss, okay, now after this, if we can discuss more about the data, how we are going to collect the data. So by the way, again, it's bonus. If you have time, if you feel it's something good, then you can discuss. Otherwise, no need to throw this information. It may be garbage for that, but still I'm sharing with you. So maybe in this case, okay, you can say, okay, we can create some metrics to measure that which one is it going good or is it going bad, around the reliability. And it's pretty easy. You have a matrix which is taking care of the reliability, or which feature is used more, and you can also discuss about how you are going to logging that information, which tools, if you have any information, it's good to share with that information, like what is your decision making process. So that, yeah, feature is there. Maybe you can say, okay, we will do some A/B experiments. It again depends how your interview is going, how much information you already conveyed, and how much the user is interested. Maybe you say, okay, this is done, but maybe we can discuss a little bit more if you think how we can measure things. Because once you convey that information, that always helps to the interview to understand you, okay, how you think, where you are, and yeah, your experience is really an experience from which our organization can get some benefits. So as a whole, this is the whole design in a mobile system design interview. Maybe we can take one more use case. For example, it give you, okay, you need to create a to-do app. Only this, one sentence. Now it's on. You can ask the same questions again, and then after once you design, you can ask, okay, it's the offline only, and then maybe you can say, okay, yeah, we are not interested in a real time syncing, but we are interested if the person is going to change the device, the data should be saved. So it's kind of a syncing with the server. So you can design again the network module, the database module is there. If the task has images or videos, if not, you can design. If not, if you, yeah, there's a task which is video, so you need to create a new video module, and that video module is also how to capture the video. You are going to use the built-in functionality, or you are going to make your own camera, blah blah blah, multiple things you can throw that. And for the syncing perspective, you can design some kind of a push system to sync the data. Instead, here we can also somewhere we can fit the push module, push notification module, which will help us if we have a new data we want to sync, we want to network, how to do. And also you can discuss about the multiple strategies around that push and the network usage, the background service according to the OS. So that will help to the interview to understand how much information you have about the platform. So like, okay, I can say, okay, in Android 12, these are the restrictions, we can't do this, but we should do this, and before the below 10, and this and this. Or maybe you can ask a question in a way, okay, is it going to be part of this feature is used by the emerging markets more than other markets, like maybe because they know, okay, most of the users maybe have Android Lollipop, or maybe Android 6, 7. So you can design according to the user base. And the future proof is also there. Like, okay, for example, they are going in an emerging market, the business is successful, now they want to move to some market where people have latest devices. So there should not be like this, okay, now I need to design again. No, so your algorithm also take care of the everything. Like in future, what will happen if that same code is going to use on a OS 12 or 13? Is there any service which is going to crash? So you should take care of that. And yeah, so I hope this helped you somehow and it's not boring. So yeah, bye.